Well, you all know the story. Over the course of the last 3 years, the number of people crossing the channel in those little inflatable dinghies has risen year after year after year. It's a major political crisis in this country, let alone those that come in the back of lorries. But you think we've got a problem? Forget it. America has got a much bigger problem, and it's had it for a long, long time. Now, Mark Brnovich, you were, for 8 years, you were there, Attorney General in Arizona, a border state, and I've been to visit. Just for a British audience, tell us what the scale of the problem of illegal immigration is.
Since Joe Biden became president, look, there's always been debates and controversies over how to handle immigration. But since Joe Biden became president of the United States, more than 6 million people have illegally entered the United States.
6 million.
I want to put that in context, Nigel. That is the equivalent. Joe Biden's from Delaware. That is the equivalent of 6 Delawares. It's, these are astronomical numbers. When we talk about, Wembley Stadium, I mean, think how many times you could fill over Wembley Stadium with the amount of people that are coming into the UK every year. And just when you look at the numbers in the United States, and what I try to remind people, I'm a first-generation American. I understand, why people want to come to countries like the UK and the United States, because the rule of law means something, even though that's being eroded every day now. But the thing is, you have to do it in an orderly fashion, and folks have to appreciate that when they're coming to countries like, we didn't depend on welfare. I had to learn English. I'm very proud that I'm, fluent in another language, but, you had to assimilate. And you had to be self-sufficient. And what's happening now is twofold. It's dangerous for not only the United States, but the UK as well, is, Milton Friedman, the great Nobel-winning, economist, you say that you cannot have immigration in the welfare state. And so that's one of the big problems countries, especially, the UK is ahead of us when it comes to the welfare state, but the United States is trying to catch up fast. But the second thing is, I remind people all the time, every time someone enters a country illegally, or every time someone gets a dinghy and lands off, the coast, there is an organized criminal cartel making money off that. In Arizona, in Texas, it's the Mexican gangs that are making record amount, billions of dollars of profit. So they're not only smuggling people, they're smuggling drugs, and they're undermining the quality of life. And inevitably, when people are helping people smuggle into the United Kingdom, eventually they're going to be smuggling drugs and other things, and they're enriching themselves, which will undermine democratic institutions.
It's a double problem, isn't it? Because not only are the traffickers making money out of this, but some of those who come into our country, and I'm sure it's the same with yours, will join criminal gangs once they've come into this country, compounding a problem that already exists. Donald Trump won in 2016. I'm going to build a great big beautiful wall. Much of the wall got built, but not all of it. I mean, it seems that now America's doing nothing to protect its borders, or am I wrong?
In some ways, nothing would be better than what Joe Biden done. What Joe Biden has done. What Joe Biden has done is he has decriminalized and incentivized people breaking the law. So, for example, the United States, one of the cases I argued at the U.S. Supreme Court last year was about the public charge rule, where Joe Biden wants to give people government benefits that don't have legal status. That is what I call the incentivization. In the United States, there was a lot of people I knew, even in Arizona, that didn't care much about immigration, but then once they started being put up in 4- and 5-star hotels in their neighborhoods,
we know the story.
Then they started caring, and then it became a real problem. And so you have that incentivization, and then you have the decriminalization. There is no one being prosecuted. No one's being prosecuted for illegal entry, and instead they're given a pass into the interior of the country. Wow. And what he's done is incentivize and decriminalize people breaking the law.
And there's a lesson for us in this, because you see, if you go down the route that America's gone down under Biden, and there's every incentive to come, I'm not suggesting we'll get to 6 million, but our numbers will keep going up, as they've done in your case. Now, Mark, you've been at the centre of the most enormous controversy over the course of the last 2 or 3 years. And this is all over, amazing we're even having this discussion in the 21st century, but over election integrity. Big Trump claims that the election was stolen in 2020. I was in Phoenix, Arizona on the day of the midterms last November. Huge queues outside polling stations, a not fit for purpose system. I mean, just give us a view as a legal officer. Is Trump, and Trump, by the way, has changed his tune now slightly. Is it wrong to say the election was stolen in November 2020?
Well, there, as the Attorney General, what I've systematically said is that you deal in facts and evidence and what is admissible in the courtroom. And someone may say something or may think they know something, but what can you actually prove and what can you do? And what I've consistently told people is that in 2020, and even the run up to 2022, the left, the Democrats in America, were very systematic in what they did, whether it was with ballot harvesting and even the manipulation with the tech companies and what you're getting and what you're not getting. But was there criminal activity? Well, look, I was the first Attorney General to prosecute someone for ballot harvesting, illegal ballot harvesting in Arizona. I went to the Supreme Court and argued a case called Brnovich v. DNC when the left and the Democrats tried to undermine, or try to allow out of precinct voting and, try to make it illegal to prohibit ballot harvesting. And the irony is, Katie Hobbs, who's now the governor of Arizona, who lost to Kerry Lake, has filed bar complaints against me during the course of that case.
Oh, I've seen that.
She's filed bar complaints against me now. The media, even in the United States now, keeps saying, well, Brnovich did this or didn't do this. And so, the irony is that, you've got the far left and the media attacking me. But at the same time, what we did is we systematically went through and we were able to show when there was claims, for example, dead people voting. It's one of the claims Donald Trump made.
Yeah.
We were systematically able to disprove that. That did not happen in Arizona. People said that. Now, fundamentally, you talk about the midterms this last time in Arizona, 30%, up to 30% of the printers, the machines failed in Arizona. There are people I know personally that were waiting in line for an hour, hour and a half, and ended up leaving and not voting. And so incompetence isn't a crime, but this is the 21st century.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. It seems like in Arizona, every time there's an election, it ends up becoming a fiasco.
Something has to change.
Yeah.
Well, we're years ahead of you with this. We went for mass mail-outs on demand, even without proof of identity to begin with in this country, and we've seen court case after court case, and I'm absolutely convinced that for free and fair elections, we have to turn up on the day with the same level of knowledge on each side, maybe a few mail-in ballots for the elderly, the disabled, those that work abroad, but as it is, it's not working. Mark, thank you for coming in.